You either comply or you get damned. Now, the real thing I wanted to say is, from what we have heard, there is money. Government collects a lot of tax money, but there are also goodwill people from outside. They are brilliant ideas. We've heard them from Ronald. So what is the problem? I would like to suggest one thing. Now let's take a look at the nuts and bolts. We've looked at the Hyundai, but we better start to look at what that nut of Hyundai looks like. And I think Ronald alluded to some of them, and Cedric alluded to some of them. For example, the best thing that has ever happened in the forestry sector in recent years is the solo grant scheme. So let's look at people like my friend of Uganda Timber Growers Association, because those are the ones who deal with things every day. Now, one particular thing I would like to suggest, and that came from Cedric's presentation, and nobody else alluded to it, is the issue of certification. Can we, for God's sake, start to certify our production system? Agriculture is already doing something, but no one ever knows actually where those products are. Forestry is trying to do something, but most of the voices I hear, they are damning certification on the basis that we don't export. If we don't certify our production systems, then we will depend on the laws, and we've been doing laws for a long time, but our things have continued to drop down. So can we think a little bit more of certifying these systems for internal consumption here, not for the external market? Start with ours, and then we go to the external market. I think that should be able to help on making this Hyundai car. That should be one of the nuts. Thank you very much.
Could you just tell us your name, sir?
My name is Stephen Sita. I'm from Havila Company Limited.
Thank you very much. On your row, Pimbaza Shaka there, I think. At his hand up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to say this is a good project, but I'm worried. The transparent part of it and the accountability part of it. And it's unfortunate Cedric was in a hurry, because there are many things he needed to explain to us. Like, how is this money going to be channeled? Where are their offices? Is it the usual way of doing the NGO sitting in Kampala or in the urban areas, or what happens? In Karamoja, we have stopped like 5 NGOs that have been cheating the public, getting billions of dollars. There is one who came for a $5 million project. We discovered only about 730,000 shillings was coming to each of the 7 districts in Karamoja. We have now chased him away from there. Then the other day, we had another problem of an HIV/AIDS project, which is $1 million project again. UNASO, which has been implementing it, has been implementing from Kampala, and they have been transferring money on their accounts in Kampala. Irish Aid has investigated, and we have also kicked them out of Karamoja. So I want to really find out what we are going to do about it. And the NGOs we thought are a solution don't seem to be a solution. They are becoming now very corrupt. So if we could get over channeling this money direct maybe to the sub-counties to help. Then lastly, I wanted to say that we have other alternatives that are not talked about, like biogas. This is a country where we have a lot of cows, and the only raw material for biogas is cow dung, which is available everywhere, but you'll never hear anybody talk about it. It is cheap, it is simple to implement, it is environment friendly. So what are we saying? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Aisha?
Thank you so much, Aisha Karan is my name. I want to know how we are going to stop talking and start walking the talk. We've been speaking about this green thing for a very long time. Between 1997 and 2001, I was a councillor in the district. We even sponsored people to go in Germany and study how we can utilize the waste to become usable in people's homes. And up to now, Wakiso district is still suffering despite that well spent on project. It has never benefited. When are we going to stop talking? We have, can you imagine, government has many institutions that use firewood. Think of how much firewood is being wasted in prisons, in barracks, where police is and where army is, and in schools. So we have, if we started with the institutions themselves, to start saving, stop them from using the firewood itself, would have moved a mileage. So until we start walking the talk, what were our fathers doing to protect people from using the forest that we have not done? I don't want to buy in the argument of population pressure, because population pressure pushes people towards the urban centers, and the village land is still there. But what haven't we done that our fathers did? Don't we simply have the will of protecting the forest, and we have simply left people to sweep away the forest away? What can we do, Mr. Kagwa, to walk the talk and stop and take away this thing from the conference? Because you're going to come back another 5 years, and we shall have degraded our forest from now 8%. I've seen 8% to worse situations.
Thank you. Mr. Kagwa, don't stop answering alone. Huh? The people speaking, that's a former RDC, former parliamentary candidate. The one who spoke before is an RDC. They all belong to government, so they should give some answers as well. Can we have the gentleman next to Aisha? No. I'm saying they also owe us answers. They shouldn't ask us questions only. Yes, sir.
Nathan Bununuz is my name.
Yes, Nathan.
I'm from the Ministry of Water and Environment. Water and Environment. And I'm here partly to give an answer. I'm not asking a question because I'm government. Under the Inclusive Green Growth for Poverty Reduction Project, implemented by the Ministry of Water and Environment, supported by UNDP, we are working closely with Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, and as I speak now, we are setting up an incubation center, commonly referred to as the Songhai model. This is going to be a center where people, especially youth and women, will come and get hands-on skills on green initiatives. And that is in Kampiring Isa, at the rehabilitation center. Government has set up 100 acres. So that is part of the initiatives that people are asking about. Another one still under that, we are developing a green jobs strategy and plan for Uganda. And lastly, also an innovation fund has been set up where people with great initiatives will be supported by government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's have the gentleman here. The two hands here. I'm coming to you, sir. I'm coming to that corner. Yes, let's have these two comments.
Thank you very much. My name is Bruno To. I am the ground rep for UNIDO. I want to thank the presenters very much. Thank you very much, Lorna. You basically guys sum up everything. Just a few things. We talk about this green growth draft strategy. I think we are very much involved in industrial activities, and of course, those activities also have got serious footprint on the environment. We are not aware about this, and we work with National Planning Authority. We work with trade and industry. Please, may we align ourselves, because we have just supported the government to renew the country's industrial policy. We are going to develop the next one. Now, we are not aware about this, and we must incorporate this in our policy. We have to work together. Just a request. To my brothers in government, I think there's a lot of emphasis about the green growth. They talk about partnership. You know, I think we need to learn really that partnership is like a marriage. It may not be perfect. No, it takes time. It takes understanding. Now, each time we have a disagreement and you kick out a woman, you are going to have a very unstable home. You know, it's not a good way of doing things. You know, so I think we need. Was it Ronald who said? I think in this green growth, there is governance, you know, that holds that triangle. And by the way, and it's all about partnership. Now we also demand for green governance or green politics per se. Why do I say this? We are talking about private sector-driven economy. But what's the private sector? We have been putting a lot of energy to attract investment both within and outside. But when we see things happening on the street, things happening in parliament, and we are talking with this guy, guys, come and invest here. Now that doesn't anchor well. No? Is this the role of government? And by the way, the foundation for private sector development, first and foremost, is peace. You know? Peace, stability, and certainty. You cannot invest if you are going not to be sure that you are going to be there tomorrow, that the investment is going to be safe. And who can guarantee that? It's you in government. It's not us who are promoting private sector, who are industrial work. We have been doing a lot what they call the Uganda Cleaner Production Center. We set up this is now over 10 years. It's working with industries to ensure this resource-efficient cleaner production mechanism and method. We work with the tea factory, with sugar factory, but these are some of the things not seen. My brother, if you go to the west, in a district in the west, we have investing a huge amount of resources in biogas, by the way. You go to Mitoma, Shenge, and all that, you find a lot of needed work being done there. The one challenge that we have in our country is these NGOs are not arm of government. These are just like, this is just a patch up. Now the thing is, what works is government to scale up. We have limited money. We do not have mechanism of collecting tax. So where can this scale up what works? If they teach you biogas works, why can we scale this up? NGOs is not a permanent structure in government. You know? It's just to assist in a small way. So I think government, please, understand your role. You are the ones in the driver's seat. Now finally, no, I think I stop here.
Thank you, Bruno. Yes, your neighbor there.
My name is Emmanuel Keith Chisame from ACODE. My question and comment goes to Ronald Kagwa, and it's a question of population. It's estimated that in the next 30 years, our population will have doubled. That means that in the next 30 years, our demand for energy will have doubled. Our demand for housing will have doubled. The question of sustainable energy talked about has a lot to do with affordability. There is no point in electric wires crossing in front of my house and I can't tap the power because I can't afford it. And that is the case in most of the areas in this country. The rural electrification project has failed for same reasons, because you go to the villages and the power has been extended there, but the common man cannot tap because he simply cannot afford it. So what strategies are in this green growth strategy? First, to control population growth, because it is an issue that we need to critically discuss. And secondly, to ensure that there is affordable housing and affordable energy in place to meet the demand that is growing.
Thank you very much. I've been hearing government people say we have 200 megawatts of excess power. We have 22.5% of Ugandans connected to the grid. And I've been asking myself, why RDC in Pimbaza Shaka wants NGOs to drop that power, why government isn't dropping lines so that people can tap into that power. Take the microphone to Mr. Evaristo Kayondo, Annette, and then we'll come to the lady here. Yes, I'll come to you, sir. I'll come to you.
Thank you. I have to stand because I'm gravity friendly. I'm Kayondo Evaristo, Chairman Kasita, and my comment and worry is about these three organs of the state. We have NEMA, we have National Forest Authority, and the UWA. But if you look at what presently what was given to these authorities when we were handing them what to protect, you will find out that only UWA has done a good job. It has remained with about 90% of what was handed them over.
Thank you. Can you pass the microphone to your neighbor there?
Thank you. I'm Annette Kandole. I would like to make a comment in relation to the presentation by Mr. Mafabi, and that's on the tree planting campaign. Last month, I was in West Nile. I learned and interviewed the shelter construction officers that they are using about 18 poles for PSN shelters. If you calculate that, you find that 1 hectare constructs 62 shelters. And knowing the population of the refugees, I think we shall have thousands of hectares, at least 3,250 cleared for PSN shelters. When I interviewed the people, they said most of those poles were from Masaka and some parts of Western Uganda. And this is my recommendation and appeal, that the investment towards addressing the refugee crisis should be countrywide. The government seems to think that the refugee crisis and effects are in West Nile only. And yet, we from other regions are servicing the refugees, for instance, in supply of wood fuel and poles. I'm not seeing it in the government strategy, and if it's there, then we need to cooperate and think about that. Thank you.
What is PSN?
PSN is people with special needs.
Thank you. Can I have the gentleman in the middle there? Then I'll come to the lady here, and you, ma'am.
Thanks so much. My name is Anton Olimbo. I work with the Climate Action Network Uganda. Now, my concern, I was speaking on behalf of the task force that was part of the Green Growth Strategy Development. We have realized that much of the expenditure is done in government. Now, the point I am trying to make is, until when we enforce green procurement, largely we are not going to see this taking place. Private sector has challenges, but if government does not enforce, put in place a green procurement policy, this thing will take long to materialize. I'll give you an example. Most of the government infrastructure now does not comply with most of these principles. So Mr. Kagwa and Mr. Paul Mafavi, I've always had a lot of challenges with Mr. Mafavi on the Ministry of Water building, the new one. It totally does not comply with the green growth principles. And yet that's where this strategy is.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think you make your point. The lady here.
Thank you very much. My name is Betty. Investment to agriculture. What is the relationship between investing in agriculture and the green growth economy? The other one is, I am aware that in this country there is a draft policy on renewable energy. And I know that whatever we do must be guided by some kind of policy. Can we pull out this policy, draft policy, from the dust and it is made, it is passed so that whatever we are talking about is informed by policy? The other one goes to, we are talking about the cutting of trees to make charcoal, and we are talking about if everybody has some clean energy. I think also this goes back to government. Can we have alternative fuel sources for both for industrial and domestic use? That is when you can stop deforestation for charcoal. You cannot tell the person making charcoal to stop making charcoal because the market is there. And I must tell you, the market is in the urban centers, in towns like Kampala and the rest of the places. Here. And if I'm asked who is deforesting our forests, I will say it is you and me. In the urban centers in Kampala, where we need to cook a lot of food and many other things and water and what. So can we first have alternative fuel for domestic and industrial use? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next time I'm not moderating, I will bring some pictures, especially now weekend people are going up country. They'll come back on Tuesday because it will be Independence on Monday. And you'll see cars with registration number UGS with sacks of charcoal at the back. And of course, a lot of you here will be coming back from up country with charcoal on your car. Send the microphone to the back, please. There's a lady there? Yes?
I'm just supplementing on what she's saying.
Okay.
I still use charcoal in my household. And this is why. Because I've tried all these clean energy products in the market and they've not worked, especially the briquettes, yes. So I think there's need for government to ensure quality control of all these energy products on the market, clean energy products.
Thank you for the confession. Answer the microphone at the back.
Good morning. My name is Samantha Biargava. I am with UDN, Uganda Debt Network. Thank you everyone who presented. My questions are in line with what the two ladies have just said. From an economic perspective, if you're thinking about it, a recent report was released and it said our poverty levels have increased to almost 27%. 10 million Ugandans are living in abject poverty. So you're not going to go and tell that person deep in the village who has never seen electricity and only has firewood as their source. They're pushed to go into the garden and get whatever they can to use it to cook and do everything, provide light for them. So are you going, they've already failed to get power. It's too expensive, it doesn't reach them. Then you're telling them you're bringing biogas or whatever, but it's never coming. So what do you want them to do? They won't starve, they have to eat.
Okay.
Secondly, there's also the issue of people having being given legal land titles, but they're in wetlands or they're in forest reserves. I think that also needs to be checked, because if we're saying we're going to move into a green sustainable economy, but it's still the government, not everyone, but some of them who are allowing these practices to continue, then there's not going to be harmony.
Thank you, Samantha. The gentleman there. Keep it very brief. We're running short of time.
Okay, thank you, moderator, for this chance. I'm Andrew. Uganda is a country where we have so many projects, and people are always looking at the end of the project, but we don't have any progress. So my quick question about the green economy: how are we sure this time that it will actually be sustainable? Because most of the time, most of the people are like, when is this project ending? But they don't look at the impact of it at the end. And then another thing, maybe this goes to Mr. Mafari and Nema. If me as an individual woke up one day and I went to Rhea, let's say, I would be evicted within hours. So if we are really to achieve this green economy, I think we need to make laws which are not selective. There are some people who have occupied the wetlands for so long. These guys seem to be investors, not only Chinese, even local investors. Yeah, I can even mention the names. One of the prophets in this country, that is Kakande. So many people have talked about him for so long, and Nema has really done nothing about it. I remember one time the president defended him as an investor, as something like that. But he has been there. Whenever they call him to appear before the court, it does not go there. He claims to say that I have big people in the world. So what is Nema doing about this?
Thank you. Can we stop it at that, because okay, we have many people want to contribute and our time is short. The gentleman here? Yes, sir? Once you're done, I think I want Bill to say something about carbon credits.
Thank you so much. Kabi Maxwell from National Forestry Authority. I have listened to very wonderful submissions on how to go green and the future we want. But I have one observation. All of us are in here to make a move, including those who do not know where to go. They want to jump and go somewhere. I think my submission is we shouldn't do that. We need to have a coherent plan where we all agree that this is the right direction to go. This initiative is good, and we are, from the submissions given, we will definitely get there if we go the right way. My submission is we need to look at a strategic environment assessment, because wealth, there can be no wealth outside the environment. So we need to develop a strategy and move in the right direction. We are lucky.
What will you say to people who say we keep drawing strategies, designing project proposals, making plans, and never implement? And Mr. Kayondo spoke to NFA. He said, you guys, you seem to be wanting to cut down as many forests as possible. I don't know if it's true. Maybe I thought you were going to respond to him.
I might have responded to him, yes, because I cannot allow that go. I don't want him to go with the same views he has come with. We came here to change. Forest management is the only semblance of management that this country has witnessed since a all these economies that people have articulated. But what is failing us? The investments we have made to environment are very low. The godparents of the environment are here, or is here. National Forestry Authority is here. We have a problem. We have a problem because we have ill health, we have ill wealth, but all these investments we are talking about depend on forestry to work. For example, hydroelectric energy, biomass, fishery. Uganda relies on agriculture, and unfortunately it's still peasant agriculture, maybe also called digging. We are not yet doing agriculture. We have the mining industry affecting forestry extensively, and we are doing nothing. So it is important that we integrate all environmental considerations in everything that we do. We cannot just begin walking to go where we don't know where we are going. We need a coherent plan how to get there. We need a master plan for forest development and forest investments.
Thank you.
We need a master plan for mining. We need a master plan for water development and water investment.
Thank you.
But allow me address the issues of Mr. Gravity. Some time ago, I was here and I articulated the contribution that UWA and National Forest Authority had made to the permanent forest estate. And I was able to convince the people here that despite the so much money they might have, really we were at par. And I was able to illustrate that the damage that we have witnessed is on the private side. Forests on private land, not protected areas. And that is the dilemma.
Thank you. Thank you. Bill?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I should also confess that I was the guy who came here in 1999 to support government creating the NFA and replacing what was the very corrupt Forest Department. So I support what these guys are doing, but they are facing many headaches. But coming to your question to talk about carbon finance, right now we have a program of activities that is a leading one in the world. Any groups sitting in this room working with improved cook stoves or wanting to distribute improved briquettes that are really the ones that the women want to use, come and talk to us. My business card is here. We are leading. Even this morning, as the panelists were sitting there, they were getting emails in their inboxes from me, hustling for funds to support you. So improved cook stoves, we're practical, we're on the ground, and it's working. Right now, yesterday we sent off the submission to the gold standard on behalf of the sawlog production grant scheme tree growers to go back 10 years and they will earn carbon credits. We're working with government, with the ministry, to create a platform for all future tree growers to earn carbon credits, whether it's larger people or communities. And we've also helped establish what EcoTrust is now running, Trees for Global Benefits. 1 million carbon credits have been provided to smallholder tree growers. So come and talk to us about any of these initiatives. We're based in Luboa. We welcome any contacts with speaking engagements to motivate your people. So there are things happening on the ground. And carbon finance isn't the answer to everything, but a trail of money gets people moving. And that's what the private sector is all about, not just businessmen, but community groups. So we're working with people like CBS, Pewosa, Fair Trade Coffee Cooperatives, boots on the ground, and my colleagues are very practical people. So this is the advertorial for us, and Dr. Chan has already left, not knowing that in his inbox right now is a proposal, and Peter's got a copy also, and the EU head of delegation, to say, come and support us. We have practical programs with practical groups like the ones that you are all represented with, and for people like KCCA, we're trying to persuade them that all that rubbish, which is 70% biomass, shouldn't be turned into compost, but turned into fuel. So that's the name of the game now, is thinking outside the box for green solutions. And I'm proud to say in the 17, 18 years that I've been here, this has been the theme of the work that we do. And I hope, if Immigration Department accepts it, I'll be doing it as a Ugandan citizen next time I speak to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think Kashaka knows where to go now before he kicks out the NGOs and the private sector. The lady at the extreme end there, I'm afraid you got to bring this to an end in the next about 5 minutes. So if you fall within that bracket, you'll have the opportunity.
Harriet Nanja from Wachiso District. My concern is our director said we have dwindling forest and wetland cover, and all strategies we want to do, maybe planting 1 million trees, will depend on how much land we have. We have got an opportunity of the Uganda Land Inquiry, and they have revealed a lot of land grabbers. My concern, many people are still looking at these forest reserves for grabbing. And once we discover some who have grabbed, and they are left with no action. Yet the inquiry has revealed those who are doing what should not be done. But what is the ministry doing about those? How do they pay for the ecosystem integrity they have abused over time? They have destroyed our forests, they have affected the water catchment, they have reclaimed wetlands. What happens? Is it only enough to cancel titles? How about all those years they have affected the integrity of the ecosystem? Then two, for all NGOs who are here, you are always attacking us government who are protecting these reserves. But you know that we are poorly funded to protect these reserves. And you have a lot of money. You always put it in research, in study, in this. Why don't you help us safeguard these boundaries? I wish I can have an NGO here which says we have opened a boundary of a certain forest like this permanently. It cannot be encroached. But you are ever choosing us. You have a lot of money. It's always in study research. Study research. When will you ever implement things that are practical?
Thank you very much. Okay. That's a serious challenge. I want the microphone to come to this table. They haven't had the opportunity, then I'll come to you. I'm afraid some hands may not get picked. It's not me. Just bring it here to these two ladies. We'll have the lady here and the gentleman, and we'll see if we can accommodate one more.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, ACODE, for organizing this and the presenters. I'm happy green economy is the in thing, as you're aware. My name is Evelyn Lutalo. I work with NEMA. There were a lot of jobs at NEMA. NEMA was established in 95. We became operational in 96. Things were doing better before. I don't know if you have ever asked yourself, why was NEMA created? What went wrong? Secondly, we are talking about green economy. We have been talking about smart agriculture, smart cities, sustainable consumption and production. My question is, can we really achieve this with people who are not smart? Have you ever asked yourself, because we are at the center, we are at the locus of all this, we have a problem in Uganda. Are we having a smart government? Are we having a smart casita, for example, with a lot of traders compromising government staff and other leaders into establishing investments in fragile ecosystems? I think you see the land, you don't want to call it a tribunal, moving around. Always there are traders, you know, in those rounds. We have problems with Kavera, for example. When we say Kavera is bad, and we say how bad it is to the human being, always the Casita group and the other group say, NEMA, you're anti-development. Are we smart enough to steer Uganda into the 2040 vision? Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you. I'm Madina Globa with the Economic Policy Research Center. I think one of the discussants indicated about the poverty levels increasing. One of the issues you have to note is, given that this data set was picked at the time when Uganda was most vulnerable, the 2016-17. Imagine if this was picked 2015-16, people would have said Ugandans are rich. But the aspect of picking this point data at the time when vulnerable, it has some issues for the government to take note, that Ugandans are vulnerable to climate shocks. And the need for greening sustainable aspects is critical now. Because people are actually saying middle income, but we are floating, even you who are here, just any shock on you, you'll be back to being poor. But we need sustainable mechanisms, which the green growth mechanisms, if well put in place by government and taken on board, are going to make sure Ugandans are not vulnerable to the shocks that actually made them poor, or show that they are actually 10 million Ugandan poor right now. So the aspects of discussing poverty, relation to green growth, is right now something we should be discussing in Parliament, not the fist fights, which we see right now.
Thank you. There's a gentleman there, and then I'll come to you.
Yeah, thank you, moderator and the presenters. I'm Frank Kansimi from Makerere University. One thing I have failed to do is to convince people to stop doing what they are doing. Ronald, this is to you. I think in your presentation, what I would have liked to hear is about awareness rising. Our colleague RDC said we should talk the walk. And what I was expecting from ACODE in your invitation letter was tell us that actually we have 6 buses which is going to bring you to Protea. If you go outside, it's a mess. How did you come here? So what point am I making? If that something we need to do, which we are not doing as Africans, what is it that we have failed to do that Europeans are doing? When you go to Europe, most of you have done, you look at the railway system, the bus system, orderly. Pioneer came here. People were lining from City Square up to CPS, trying to get a chance to enter those buses. Mr. Mamuse, what happened, I don't know. If you move to rural areas, almost every homestead now have, most of them now, they have a solar panel, at least for lighting, which means they are already aware that actually solar power is good. So, Ashaka, we are saying government, can you take advantage of that? Let those people get solar panels tax-free. What am I saying? I think let's stop going into conferences, talking and stopping there. What is that we can do that we have seen working and we scale it up?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I've been picking on Ashaka and we are friends. He might be mobilizing those people in Karamoja for other things now. Not what you're talking about. Bring it to the lady here. Fred is also mobilizing for other things, not
Thank
what you're talking
you.
about.
My name is Milka from Crossing Borders. To begin with, I'll ask all of us a question. Where is that power that keeps thwarting even the small steps that are taken towards the green economy in Uganda? I'll just give one example. In the recent past, we heard of Kavera ban, but where did that stop? I mean, every time I go to the market these days, the package I get is in Kavera, and nobody talks about it. So from all this, I've just realized one thing, or I've observed one thing. We cannot ignore power relations at play. Even as we advocate for the green, economy, we cannot ignore the power relations at play. Who has the right to do what? And who holds that other person accountable? We should all try to develop a critical eye into the powers that be. Because many times, what happens has a control from somewhere else that I won't mention. But we can all meditate on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The lady will be the last comment. The lady there. That hand up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lillian Twanza from Nature Uganda. I've had a lot of frustration and impatience here, and I just want to encourage us that there is no quick fix to the problems we are facing with the environment. There is no quick fix for the mudslides sweeping away people. There is no quick fix. You have to go through the muddy, long process of improving, like someone trying to lose weight. People come and tell you there is tea here which can give you, in 2 weeks you'll be size 8. But there is no quick fix for environment. You have to go through the exercise, the dieting, eating leaves and less potatoes, and there is no quick fix. We have to allow and go through the very painful long process of improving the environment and greening the economy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to give a verse to Fred Bamwine to read in the Bible, because it appears like there are many. I'm going to give the 3 gentlemen up here 3 minutes. So 1 minute for each one of you to respond in a summarized way, the comments that came to your particular docket. Someone is helping.
Maybe I can use yours.
There's one here. I want to keep this so that I can stop you when I need to.
Actually, I wanted it so that I could, but now you have learned my trick. Colleagues, friends, I think we've asked the questions. The good news, you have actually given the answers. What I would hope is that the organizers can really synthesize this and come up with a way that can move us forward. Because everything is what we have said here. I will not attempt to respond to all the questions, but point out a few things that we need to sort out. The fundamental one is governance. If we don't sort out the governance issue, because all the questions you're asking about governance, and relating to that is politicizing interventions. RDC Bamine, Mama Aisha, RDC Pimbaza knows that in Kampala here when we went through the efforts to restore the wetlands, you know what we faced. I will not give a name, but one time we were invited in to actually meet investors to help them understand the importance of Nachimuvo. And what happened? The vehicle which came with the investor had an RDC in that same vehicle. No, it's not any of these who are here. Now I'm making it really practical. Now it made my work and our work very difficult because I was expecting the RDC to be on my side. But the RDC came with the investor. So you can imagine how difficult it is to NEMA, to NFA, if, well, I think we will sort that out later. But I wanted to make that point that unless we can remove the politics from all these things, it will actually not work. Two, maybe I'll even stop there because if I try to say something else, I might actually mess it up.
Thank you very much. I think there were quite a number of questions and also the answers were coming along. But I think the purpose of this meeting was to provoke that discussion and to provoke thought, but also to say that there is a roadmap towards transition to green economy in Uganda. And that commitment is coming from almost all the actors that have been here. From the government, the National Planning Authority is our authority in terms of determining what the government priorities over the next in short term, long term in Uganda. For us as an advisor to government, because we as the Global Green Growth Institute have no agenda, what we simply do is come and support government to deliver. So like I said in the presentation, yes, we already now have, we would describe this as our roadmap. And this is completely not distinct from the vision document. It's not another document. But what is coming from the House is that we should move away from talking, and then to acting. And I think that is what we are trying to do with the government, with the National Planning Authority, with the Ministry of Finance, and with all the sectors. What we have done is that we have been able to provide a framework at the national level. The next steps and what we are doing currently, especially with the sectors that have been mentioned here as the high multiplier effect sectors in terms of propelling green growth, is now to dive into those sectors and see that the priorities that are spelled out here, how are these sectors going to reflect this in their sector investment plans? And then how do these investment plans at the sector level, at the ministry level, cascade into the district development plans? Because we are talking about the benefit eventually should end up with the local person. So the task is that it's really a very stratified process, very aligned to government priorities, and the government is in the driving seat. This is not a project. It is a government program and policy, which is more or less a government agenda on green growth. It's just a shift in the way government does business to doing it in a more efficient and a more effective and efficient way. So I don't know whether the Minister of Finance will be here, but we are discussing with the Minister of Finance how the whole green growth strategy is going to be integrated into the budgeting, planning and budgeting cycle. So if you have received the first budget call circular, maybe the next revised one is going to be giving you directives in terms of what should appear in terms of an effort to begin to transition. It's not going to be business as usual in terms of planning. But I cannot speak that authoritatively. That should come from Ministry of Finance. But we're already in discussions and see with government how we see this get mainstreamed into the budgeting and planning process. And then the effects should be felt. We want to see the change at the household level. But the responsibility does not lie only with government.
Thank you.
Private sector has a role, and us as individuals here have a role. If we have to talk about waste management, just one minute, 1 second. Waste management, we all generate waste in our households. And if we just adopt the behavior of just doing one thing, sorting waste at our household, we have the recyclables, the biodegradables, non-biodegradables. If we just adopt the practice at our household levels, we will even simplify the work of KCCA or the private actors that are collecting this waste. And then we should see them getting it back into the system in form of recycling. So it's the responsibility of government, private sector, and us. Thank you.
Very much. You're talking about waste management? I only wish we stopped throwing bottles out of our vehicles when we are driving. You see them flying out, and they end up in the drainages. I don't know how that helps the environment. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yes, I want to agree that we need awareness creation about green growth. I also want to note that awareness is not enough. A lot of environmental degradation is done not because people are aware, but there's a culture of environmental criminality that we have to address as a country. Aisha, we are not talking, we are acting. Maybe what we should say, we should begin running. I mentioned so many initiatives on green growth, which needs to be scaled up by you, by all of us here, private sector, society inclusive. The issue of enforcement is critical, and enforcement is not only muscle power, but innovative enforcement. We need to put innovation in our incentive, in our enforcement mechanism, a mix of incentives, the carrot and the stick. We need compliance assistance. We need to assist people to comply and see the benefits of compliance as a tool of competition, as a tool of increased profitability, especially the private sector. Certification would enable you to go to different markets. The cost of production will go down with efficiency. We also need behavioral change. We need to change the way that we behave. The cost of adjustment will be low if we change our behavior to be more pro-environment. Most of these green practices are not new. They have been with us. We just need to change the way that we behave. And the green growth begins at the household, and then it goes to the national level. So let's do what we should do. Now, green growth has got a cost. Let us address the cost of adjustment. Population is a resource which we need to harness. Can we identify the positive forces that we need to harness for transition to green growth? In all that we do, can we create partnerships for green growth at different levels, for technology, for funding, for skilling? The good news is that this technology is available all over the world. Can we bring it here? Many of you go outside the country. What did you bring here? Maybe we need to change. Instead of taking new people to go to China, let's get the informal sector from Katwe to visit China. They will come with skills to change our country. Instead of us going and coming and write reports, this one will come with skills. I think we need to address this and see who should get exposure to these international green best practices. I think your questions all fall in that mix. I want to thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you join me to give a big round of applause to our panel? Can we give another big round of applause to all of us? I would like to specifically mention the following. Jackie and Judith from the Parliamentary Forum on Climate Change, thank you for being present and for partnering with ACODE to deliver this discussion. We have one uniformed officer in the room, so I thought I should mention SSP Mugisha. Edgar is the liaison officer at the National Forest Authority. And lastly from me, tomorrow Uganda Cranes plays against Ghana, the World Cup qualifiers. Please go and support it, and happy Independence Day to all of you. Can I welcome Dr. Arthur Benumicha to give us closing remarks, and then we'll be done this morning.
Thank you very much. A round of applause to our moderator. I think he does quite a very good job, and he makes it easy for us to sit and also relax. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this was a successful meeting in terms of what we sought to achieve. The debate has been very good within and without. Number two, we also wanted to create awareness. I think the awareness is beginning because green growth economy, we've lived it, but we even don't know that we've lived it. So the awareness begins, and I think that is being achieved. But what comes out very clearly is that corruption remains the problem. I think it has come, when we hear people talking about governance and appealing that is corruption. When he talks about an RDC coming with an investor, an RDC who should be on the side of Mr. Mafari comes with an investor and of course compromises the whole thing. So as a country, I think we need to deal decisively with corruption. And you know, I think the head of the EU delegation also talked about the cost of doing business in Uganda is the highest in the region. And so we cannot attract foreign direct investment. So people go to Rwanda, Kenya, and others. What is the problem? And yet we are very welcoming people. So when we welcome you calmly, then we put a very big bill for corruption, and the investor runs away. So I think we need a fundamental change. And at ACODE, I think one of the promises I can make, we are going to dedicate a stone, a session of the stone, on the implications of corruption, national security, and national and economic transformation. I think just a dedicated discussion on corruption could perhaps change this country if we are going to achieve our developmental possibilities. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I think to interest each one of us, because talking, someone has advised we need to walk the talk, and I don't know who. But having Mr. B. Farmer here is one of the achievements of this session. Carbon trading. He's the chairman of Uganda Carbon Bureau. I think for us to be able to transition is to make each one of us business minded. Then I have seen that there is actually business in the green growth economy. And I tell you, because we can talk this, unless you put in this, something that is selfish for all of us, because all human beings are selfish. So individualism in us should drive us to make money out of the green growth economy. And farmer and beer farmer is there. How I wish that each one of you or of us in this country could start small projects, innovative ideas that would save the environment, would create jobs and inclusive growth. So he's a friend, and you have seen him, and he has told you where to find him. But also at ACODE, that's why we are moving in that, and I'm happy that we have economists here. Economics that works. She's there, Dr. Madina, and our Center for Budget and Economic Governance. The gentlemen and ladies are here. We need to translate these ideas into practical cash and development. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, I think I want to thank the panelists for making the green growth economy very easy for us to understand. I think now we understand it. Yes. Give them a round of applause. And Mr. Kagwa, I think a round of applause to Mr. Kagwa. I hope the other colleagues will not be better safe. This is Mr. Kagwa. He's also like the gravity man. Even I fall in that category. I think that Mr. Ronald Kagwa has demystified the whole thing. I think now we have a roadmap, because he's in charge of that green growth strategy, which National Planning Authority has done. So we'll be knocking on your door to begin to designing those quick wins, projects that actually can transform this country. Until we meet again, God bless you.
Dr. Wainamu, they say the group you talked about are victims of climate change. Just one more thing to say. This discussion continues on social media. You have the hashtag, so the discussion is going on. Please continue with it. And someone whispered that the Stone WhatsApp group has died of intellectual discussions. I don't know what the members are doing about it. You need to pick up that discussion a little bit more and make it more active and alive. Thank you.